Greetings participants, welcome back to the Game Dev Arena. We're going to go over a quick overview on how to get a camera clamped to the edges of your game screen. This current example is basically only working on a side scroller orthographic view. So I haven't tested it out on any other type of views, but this will for sure get you with an orthographic camera, which is what I'm currently using. So you can see that orthographic projection, it has been ticked. So that way it shows a little orthographic. As you can see, the camera is unticked. You can see the perspective camera. So we got an orthographic camera. The project currently is being rendered at 1280 by 720. I like that particular resolution size, so I'm sticking with that since it is a somewhat popular size with Steam games outside of that 1920 by 1080p. But that's the current resolution that we're working with, so I wanted just to provide that information. We got a game script here and a camera script. The game script right now, all it really is doing is populating my collection that is housing the currently first level. So we can see, we'll go to stages. So right now, when it opens up, you'll see this particular level set up in there. Because right now, obviously you don't see it in my main collection because I just have my game script populating it for me because I'm working on a a transition with collection factories like the simple RPG mapping that you can find on the Defold website. And then next we have the position of my character that right now is named Pixel. So you'll be able to see Pixel pop up on the screen also at the vector 3 location of 500, 200, and 0. So that's basically all the game script is doing. Our camera script, we will look at that after we open up the game. So the camera script, like I said, is going to provide that clamping. It's a simple script. As you can see, once the player gets beyond the clamping area, I haven't set up anything to stop the player, so the player will just keep going on forever, but the camera does stop. And as you can see, the camera only follows on the x-axis because the player can go up and down, no problem, and the camera won't follow. Camera's only following on the x-axis. So we can go back to our script, the camera. So camera is attached to the camera game object. So our camera, we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of code that allows me to get that clamping mechanic set up and implemented. Start out with getting the position of pixel. So wherever pixel is, that's where the camera picks up pixel. Then I set up a little clamping of the value of the X for pixel. So that's what, so basically, so let me see. So if we look at it, the clamp does value. So the value is what I get here. So we're just looking on the X value since Y is going to stay the same no matter where the player is moving. So X value, we get a minimum value of 360 and a maximum of 840. So these numbers I kind of had to play around with to get it to where the you wouldn't see any black space on either side once the player got to that point. So those values you just kind of play around with depending on your screen size, but you get that min value and that max value. So we'll see, copy, paste, just so I know the values there that I know works. And I'll change the values just so you can get an idea of what happens. So we'll go 300 and 900. And so we're going to change the min and max just so you get an idea of what happens. So I'll rebuild the game. Let it open up. All right. So now you can see now there is black space. So we're going beyond the borders of the actual sprite that I have for the particular background of my city landscape. So you can see the black going beyond. So with this 360, 840 is the perfect max and min that gets me to where the player doesn't reach that black or the camera doesn't reach the black. So there we figure out what my clamping will be for the camera to get it to not go beyond a certain point. And now to stop the camera, we go the position for the player X. Once it is greater than 0, if it is greater than 0, we tell the camera to stop at the min value. So basically this self.cl here would only stop at 360 rather than going beyond 360. And then vice versa, same with the max. Since the screen is since the width of the screen is 1280, while the X is less than 1280, we only stop at the clamping of 840. So the max value for our X position of our game object at 840. And then we close out that if statement, and that's how I got my clamping mechanism to work. I know it's a little long-winded, but I figured I'd go line by line and kind of go through how I did it and show you once again, able to get that clamping. Like I said, with the min and max numbers, you kind of just play with the numbers on how it's going to correspond with your scene. But for me, I was able to get the correct numbers that allowed me to allow the camera to stop at the correct points so that my player or the scene isn't showing anything black. Outside of that, those are the simple lines that I've done. So like I said, we can go through it again. We got the position of my game object. We set up the value for the X coordinate of the vector 3 for the game object with providing a min value of 360 so that way it doesn't go beyond or get anywhere close to 0, and a max value of that 840. Set up some if statements to reflect the min and max for the X of the camera. As you can see here, this cam is representing our camera game object. And that's how I was able to get the clamping done. If you have any questions or you try to go through it yourself and something happens to go wrong, feel free to leave a comment or reach out via X. I respond pretty much instantly. So if you happen to implement this and get it to work, leave a like on the video. And like I said, if you have any issues, leave a comment and I'll gladly walk through and figure out things with you to get everything to work. But outside of that, there's nothing else going on that I wanted to comment on, as basically everything that you needed to see is right there. So with that, it is game over.